My daughter, who treated me like an employee, revealed an amazing secret one day before Christmas. Tom stared at the twinkling lights draped around the neighborhood. The laughter of families echoed down the streets, each sound a reminder of what he had lost. It was Christmas Eve, yet he felt the weight of solitude pressing down on him. He couldn't shake off the feeling that, despite all he had done for Sarah, she barely saw him as anything more than a paycheck. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. Just a few years ago, Sarah was his little girl, her laughter brightening the darkest corners of his toughest days. Now, she was anticipating her senior internship announcement, seeming to care more about her future than the sacrifices he'd made to ensure she had one. With each passing moment, Tom's heart cracked a little more. What had happened to their bond? He remembered the nights spent reading her stories, building pillow forts, and the sparkle in her eyes during holiday traditions. Since those days became just memories, they had grown colder, almost transactional. He sighed, carefully wrapping the last gift he bought, an untouched set of sketching supplies, hoping to bring back even a glimmer of warmth between them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That night, as he quietly tucked the gifts beneath the Christmas tree, Sarah walked by, her focus glued to her phone. Dad, can you keep it down? I'm trying to work here. The dismissive tone hit him like a slap. It wasn't just the words, it was the indifference that sliced deeper. But as tomorrow dawned, everything changed. Sarah stumbled upon an aging box tucked away in the attic, filled with bundles of letters he had written during his years of military service. As she opened each letter, her perspective began to shift. The words laid bare his struggles, dreams, and the immense love he carried for her. Even when he felt distant, Tom watched from the hallway, unsure if he should interrupt. The scratching sounds of paper ignited a mixture of hope and fear inside him. As she read, he could see her tense shoulders dropping slightly, the corners of her mouth turning down as if she was beginning to understand the weight of his sacrifices. It was a moment of clarity that he had desperately hoped for, as the walls between them finally began to crumble. Will this revelation turn the tide? Can their fractured relationship mend in a single evening, right before Christmas? Tom felt a surge of anxious hope, standing under the glow of those festive lights, knowing that a dialogue on love and gratitude was waiting to break free between them. Could this truly be the beginning of a new chapter? As the first light of Christmas morning filtered through the windows, Tom remained frozen in uncertainty. He had settled on the couch, a cup of coffee cradled in his trembling hands. He could hear the soft rustle of Sarah in her room, no doubt flipping through those precious letters. A mix of hope and dread twisted in his stomach. Would she come out changed? Or would the layers of misunderstanding return, thicker than ever? Minutes dragged on. The anticipation was almost unbearable, punctuated by the faint sounds of shuffling. Then, the door creaked open. Sarah stood in the doorway, her hair slightly tousled, eyes shimmering with a mixture of emotions. Tom's breath caught in his throat. He hadn't seen anything like that spark in a long time. Dad? She started, her voice quiet but steady. Can we talk? Tom nodded, heart racing. Of course. He set his coffee down and motioned for her to join him. She walked over, slowly, the hesitance palpable between them. When she finally sat beside him on the couch, he could see the change. She wasn't just there to check off a box, she was there to connect. I found those letters, she said, her gaze dropping to her lap. I didn't really understand what you went through. All those years. Tom's chest tightened at the mention of his past, the sacrifices he thought she had long forgotten. It was hard sometimes, he admitted softly. But I wanted you to have a better life. I never wanted you to feel the weight of it. Sarah's breath hitched, her eyes glistening with unspilled tears. You don't know how hard it's been for me either. With school and the pressure to succeed, I thought you just wanted me to be perfect. Her voice broke, raw with emotion. But I see now it was love. You were doing your best, just like I am. He could feel the warmth of their shared pain. I only wished you could felt that from me more often. I thought I was doing the right thing by giving you everything. I thought you were just an employee, Dad, she whispered, allowing the truth to surface. Like someone I could just tell what to do. But you were my dad all along. I lost sight of that. The weight between them shifted. It was a moment of understanding, one that felt like a gentle embrace even without physical closeness. Tom reached out, placing his hand over hers. I never wanted to be just a paycheck. I wanted you to know I cared more than anything in the world. The corner of Sarah's mouth turned up, and for a moment, the laughter of the holiday rang through them, scattering the shadows of misunderstanding. You really are more than that, Dad. I see it now. As they sat in silence, an unspoken promise passed between them, a commitment to rebuild. Maybe they could start new traditions, even mend the old ones that were starting to feel fragile. Just then, the silence was broken by the lively sounds of family gathering downstairs, the excitement of gifts being opened, laughter, and joy flooding through the house. It felt like the breath of fresh air Tom desperately needed. Shall we join them? He asked. Let us do it together, she replied, and a genuine smile blossomed on her face. As they rose from the couch, Tom's heart surged with renewed hope. Maybe, just maybe, they had turned a corner. But as they moved towards the door, Sarah paused and looked back at him, uncertainty creeping back in. Dad, what if I told you I had a different surprise for you? Something I've wanted to share. A rush of anxious curiosity built inside him. What did she mean? What was this surprise? Feeling drawn into the moment, he held his breath, waiting for an answer that could lead to an even deeper revelation about the daughter he thought he knew. Tom's heart pounded in his chest. What do you mean, Sarah? He asked, his voice tightening around the edges. Her sudden change in demeanor tugged at his mind like a loose thread, making him nervous about what was teasing just beneath the surface. She hesitated, biting her lip, her fingers brushing nervously against the fabric of her jeans. It's about school and something I've been working on. I really didn't know how to tell you. That made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. Is it bad? Are you in trouble? The questions tumbled out, fueled by the swirling emotions of the morning, but then he saw it in her eyes, the determination that came with newfound strength. No. It's nothing like that, she assured him, shaking her head with a soft laugh that almost felt like a release of pent-up anxiety. It's actually good. I wanted you to be proud of me. Proud? Tom encouraged, leaning in a little closer, his eyes capturing the flicker of excitement dancing in hers. You know I'm proud of you, right? Always have been. Yeah, but Sarah took a deep breath, her hands clasping together as if forming a protective shield around her thoughts. I'm working on a project for school that could really help people, homeless families specifically. It's a charity campaign, and I'm leading it. Tom's breath caught in his throat. Leading. His daughter was spearheading something so impactful. This was a girl he had only recently come to see beyond the walls they'd built. That's incredible, Sarah. What do you need from me? Her gaze flickered, as if uncertainty brushed against her courage. I wanted to show you what I've been planning. I'm afraid it's a little ambitious. What do you mean? He asked, trying to mask his growing excitement while still calming the anxiety buzzing in the air. It's a fundraiser, Dad. I plan to host a community event and need help organizing it, but I know I can be a lot to handle. She paused, her voice dipping to a whisper. You know, like the way I treated you before. I didn't give you the chance to help me. That's why I hesitated. The air between them thickened with the weight of unspoken truths. Tom remembered all the times when he had felt dismissed, like an afterthought in his own family. But to hear this now, to witness her growth, he felt a chuckle ripple out, despite the gravity of the moment. You're not a burden, Sarah, he said, his eyes searching her face, wanting her to see the conviction in his words. You're my daughter. I would do anything to help you with this. The corners of her mouth lifted. Really? You mean it? Absolutely. He shifted, positioning himself fully toward her. So, how do we start this? The gratitude that lit up her expression sent a warmth through him. I have some ideas for a toy drive, and I want to set up an awareness booth in town. Are you in? Of course, I'm in. His heart swelled with pride as he thought about standing beside her, not just as her father but as her ally. Their moment of excited planning was cut short as laughter erupted from the gathering downstairs. It echoed into the living room, reminding them of the world just beyond their exchange. Shall we go tell everyone? Sarah suggested, bouncing in her seat, a new lightness in her demeanor, but as they stood up, Tom felt a pinch of worry wrap around his heart. This kindness toward each other was new. What if they stepped outside, only to slip back into old roles? But then he looked at her, a brightness in her eyes he hadn't seen in ages. She was ready, and so was he. Let us do it, he said, and just as they were about to open the door, he turned to her once more. One more thing, Sarah. No matter what happens today, I'm proud of you for taking this step. Let us make it amazing. As anticipation washed over them, she beamed back, but then her expression shifted as she recalled something. Thanks, Dad. Oh, and one last surprise, what now? He asked, grinning. She placed a finger to her lips, teasing him for a moment. You'll just have to wait and see. It's a big surprise too, just like the fundraiser. Are you up for a bit of adventure? Tom's heart raced in delight and trepidation. I'm ready for anything with you. Together, they opened the door, a mixture of hope and sunlight spilling into their lives, leaving Tom wondering just how deep this surprise would go. What other transformations waited in the wings of this day? As they stepped into the bustling atmosphere downstairs, laughter and chatter enveloped them like a warm hug. Friends and family filled the living room, the air alive with energy. It was a stark contrast to the quiet moment they had just shared. Tom felt a thrill of hope swell in his chest. This was a new chapter for them. Hey, everyone. Sarah called out, her voice cutting through the playful noise, commanding attention. The room quieted down, all eyes turning toward her. Dad and I have something we want to share. Her excitement bubbled over like a glass of soda shaken too hard. Tom gave her a reassuring smile, proud of how she was stepping into her role. The initial nerves from moments ago melted away, replaced by anticipation. He stood by her side, listening with a keen ear as she spoke, watching the faces in the crowd, all reflecting curiosity and pride. Sarah launched into her plans, her voice gaining strength with each word. She spoke of the toy drive, how important it was for every child in need, especially during the holiday season. Tom watched as she painted pictures of hope and joy, the same feelings she was beginning to embrace. I know we can make a difference if we all come together, she said, her eyes bright with purpose. Claps erupted from the group, along with whoops of encouragement. Tom felt a warmth spread through him. This was the Sarah he had always believed was in there, waiting to break free from the shadows of their past misunderstandings. And, she added, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that only slightly pulled the audience closer, there's one more surprise. I'm organizing a small Christmas fair to launch the fundraising campaign. Murmurs of approval and surprise whipped through the crowd. This was no small feat, and yet the confidence that radiated from Sarah felt insurmountable. He couldn't help but beam with admiration. But as the cheers grew louder, glimpses of doubt wormed their way into his mind. Could they pull it off? The fair would require resources, volunteers, and most daunting of all, overcoming both their past miscommunications and the expectations of the community. Yet, standing beside Sarah, he felt an odd sense of certainty. Count me in, he announced, and the room erupted with applause. We can do it together, right? Sarah asked, seeking his affirmation among the cheers. There was a flicker of uncertainty on her face that he recognized. They both stood at the precipice of something new. Absolutely, kiddo, he replied firmly, already envisioning late nights spent brainstorming, planning, and creating something that would reach beyond just raising money. It was about connection. It was about rebuilding their bond. As the excitement filled the room, Tom felt renewed resolve settle over him. It wasn't just a project, it was their way of healing. He looked at Sarah, her expression alight with pure joy, and he wondered about the bigger picture. Would their efforts bring them even closer together? Before long, the laughter and chatter resumed, this time with more life than before. People gathered around to share ideas, brainstorm, and offer their help. It felt electric. But as Sarah stepped into the crowd, already diving into the details, something pulled Tom's attention. He noticed a man, unfamiliar, lurking at the edge of the gathering, eyes fixed not on the festivities but on them. A shiver ran down his spine. Could he be a part of their past? Or perhaps someone who knew too much? Tom's heart raced. This unexpected twist was just the beginning, and he had no idea what would follow. Just then, Sarah turned towards him, her smile radiant, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just out of sight. "Dad!" she called, lifting her hand to wave him closer, inviting him further into this adventure. Little did they know, what awaited them would challenge everything they had built so far. Would they truly be ready to face it together? Tom's heart beat faster as Sarah called him closer, her enthusiasm infectious even amidst the nagging anxiety that stirred within him. He pushed the sense of foreboding aside and made his way to the center of the gathering. The warmth of the crowd enveloped him, but the mystery of the lurking man held his mind captive. "Dad, come meet everyone," Sarah exclaimed, pulling Tom into the fold. Her bright energy lightened his heart, even though a small part of him remained shrouded in uncertainty. He knew he should focus on the moment, the plans, the excitement, but the shadow of doubt was hard to shake off. "Hey there. I'm Jackie." A cheerful woman, brimming with enthusiasm, interrupted his thoughts. "I heard your daughter's ideas, and I can't wait to help out." Tom smiled, grateful for the distraction. "Thanks, Jackie. Any ideas on what we might need?" "Absolutely. We could use some decorations, games, food stalls and maybe even a Santa. Do you want to take that on?" she joked with a wink. Laughter erupted, which helped build Tom's confidence that he turned to Sarah, whose eyes were filled with excitement, and found himself lost in the moment. "Sure," he replied, feeling a renewed determination to make this fair a success. It was more than just an event, it was a fresh start for both him and Sarah. The planning discussion continued. Brainstorming flowed naturally, as ideas bounced between friends and family. They chatted about ways to engage the community, to really get them involved. Tom could tell that Sarah's passion was inspiring everyone around her. He felt a surge of pride, knowing it was her dream that was starting to unlock a door they'd kept bolted for too long. But then, as the group strategized, Tom noticed the man again, still lingering outside the gathering. His unrelenting stare shifted from Sarah to Tom, and an uncomfortable tightening sensation coiled in Tom's stomach. It made his palms sweat, and he struggled to engage with the talk around him. "Dad! What do you think?" Sarah called, snapping him back to the flurry of planning. I think we should focus on a big kickoff event, really get the community excited. Maybe a parade," or he started, quietly dismissing the foreboding feeling for now. The man took a step closer then, as if drawn by some invisible thread. His presence felt heavy, and Tom's hand instinctively clenched into a fist. The air crackled with tension, and suddenly, Sarah's excitement felt fragile under the unfamiliar weight of this stranger's gaze. "Dad? Are you okay?" Sarah's voice pierced through his panic. She studied him, concern folding over the lively atmosphere. "Yeah, I'm fine, just a little distracted," he managed, forcing a smile. Yet as he looked back toward the man, a shiver of dread washed over him. What if this was someone from their past? Someone who could unravel everything they were trying to build? The crowd continued to buzz with ideas, but Tom couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He had to figure out who this man was, and what his intentions were, before it all fell apart. "Sarah," he said, lowering his voice just enough for her to hear. "Can you come with me for a second? I need to talk to you." She arched an eyebrow but nodded, and together, they stepped away from the fervor of planning and into the quieter corner of the room. As the laughter faded into the background, they turned to face one another. "What is it, Dad?" she asked, eyelids slightly creased with confusion and concern. "Do you see that man over there?" Tom whispered, nodding toward the doorway. "I don't like the way he's looking at us." Before he could finish his thought, the man began to move, stepping through the throng with purpose. "What is he doing?" Sarah asked, her previous excitement now clouded by uncertainty. Meanwhile, Tom's heart raced. The moment was no longer just about pizza parties and toy drives. It was about to unveil a truth that would shake everything they believed. "What if he's connected to your affair?" Tom said softly, realizing out loud just how heavy that weight could be. As Sarah's eyes widened, the man closed the distance even more. Tom felt the air around them shift, charged with anticipation. "Get ready, kiddo," he murmured, throat tight. "I have a feeling you're not going to like this." Tom's mind raced as he watched the man approach, each step echoing the feel of his own heartbeat. The energy around them shifted, transforming from joyful anticipation to a thick slice of dread. He wanted to gather his girl close, to shield her from whatever reality was creeping closer. "Stay behind me," he said, instinctively positioning himself in front of Sarah. She glanced at him, eyes wide but unflinching, as though she was trying to absorb every shred of the unfolding tension. "Who is he?" she whispered, never breaking her stare. "Do you know him?" "Not really, but he looks familiar." The vague recognition didn't help ease the worry bubbling in his gut. The man, finally breaking through the lingering conversations, stood a mere foot away. He was older than Tom had initially perceived, his face lined with years that whispered stories Tom wasn't ready to hear. A dark jacket hung on him like an old shroud, making him appear more menacing than he probably intended. "Tom," he said, searching Tom's eyes, as if trying to glean a hidden answer in their depths. The single word felt like a stone dropped into a pond, rippling through the calm surface of their vibrant gathering. Tom nodded, suddenly feeling the weight of the crowd's attention shift. Some had noticed, whispers bubbling quietly while others continued to chat, unaware of the approaching storm. "Can we talk?" the man pressed, leaning slightly closer. His voice was low, hurried, but carried a familiar timbre that unnerved Tom even further. "I don't think there's anything to talk about," Tom replied firmly, adrenaline coursing through him. "Just a few minutes. Please." "It's important," the stranger urged, eyes darting to Sarah, who stood frozen beside Tom. Sarah's curiosity and unease began to merge, creating a mask of confusion that Tom wished he could shield her from. "Dad?" she whispered, concern wrapped around her tone. "No," Tom said flatly, feeling a surge of protectiveness. "You need to go back to the crowd. Now." He wasn't sure where this was leading, but he wouldn't risk Sarah being caught in whatever turbulent line this man wanted to cross. "Tom," the man started, but before he could continue, Sarah stepped forward despite her father's warning, standing tall. "Who are you?" she demanded, her young but steady voice ringing out. "What do you want with my dad?" "That's the question, isn't it?" The man's face softened, revealing glimpses of sincerity that sent chills down Tom's spine. "I know things about you both that you don't understand." Tom gripped Sarah's hand tighter, willing her to step back, yet a flicker of disbelief crossed her face. "Things?" she repeated. "What things?" "Serious things," the man said grimly, focusing his gaze now solely on Sarah. "Things about your mom. Things about why she's not here." Sarah gasped, and Tom's breath caught in his throat. The words carried the weight of years, dredging up wounds he thought were buried too deep to surface. His heart raced as he grappled with the impossible a possibility that could fracture the fragile connection he had worked so hard to rebuild with his daughter. "Dad, is he telling the truth?" Sarah glanced up at him, eyes glistening with confusion and fear. "Stay out of this," he snapped, shocked by the tension surging through his voice. He turned back to the man. "You need to leave." The man held up his hands, a gesture of peace. I'm not here to hurt you, Tom. Just to share what you need to hear. Yeah? Why should I trust you? Tom shot back, his mind racing and emotions spiraling. Because sometimes the hardest truths are the ones we can't ignore any longer. As that statement hung in the air, Tom felt uncertain. The man's presence was a dark cloud, ready to rain down a storm that could threaten everything they had built. Let us be. Tom's voice gained strength, but his insides churned, but the man didn't back down. Instead, he looked at Sarah, his gaze piercing through the chaos. This isn't just about you two. It's about the truth surrounding your lives, truth that will change everything. A chilling silence enveloped them, and the crowd faded, trapping them in this moment that felt heavy with unspoken revelations. Dad, Sarah breathed, her voice quivering as she clutched Tom's arm. What is going on? Tom found himself at a crossroad, the choice stretching out before him like an open road, fraught with complicated landscapes filled with shadows. What do we do? He asked, his heart pounding in time with the deeper questions that hung unspoken around them. And as the weight of the decisions loomed ahead, he knew they had to confront the truth, and soon. A knot tightened in Tom's stomach as he looked down at Sarah. Her innocent question pierced through the tension, and he felt the panic rise. How could he explain this? The man in front of them seemed to know something profound, something that could unravel the world they had painstakingly rebuilt after her mother's absence. Listen, Sarah, Tom started, forcing his voice to remain steady. This isn't the time for not the time? She interrupted, her voice trembling. Dad, what could be more important than knowing the truth about Mom? The man's expression softened, but it was the kind of softness that hinted at regret and hard-won wisdom. I understand how difficult this is for both of you, he said, glancing between them. But I promise I have answers. Tom felt anger bubbling beneath his skin. What answers? What do you even know? He could feel his fists balling up at his sides. He wanted to shove this stranger away, wanted to eliminate the threat he posed to their fragile peace. Just a few minutes, the man pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. Please. This isn't just about your past. It's about your future, Sarah. You need to know. Tom's heart sank. The thought of plunging Sarah into a dark history he hadn't prepared her for was unbearable. No. We can't do this here, he insisted, glancing at the crowd still milling about. We need to go somewhere private. Sarah's voice was a whisper now, filled with apprehension. Why don't you want to hear him out? Because I want to protect you. He snapped, his frustration spilling over. Regret washed over him instantly. He softened, looking into her searching gaze. I'm sorry. I don't want you hurt. The man took a slow, deep breath. If you care for her, you'll let her know the truth. She deserves that much. Tom hesitated. The man had a point, but how could he do it? Moments like this were supposed to be set aside for joy, for celebration, not heavy revelations about loss and sorrow. Tell me, Sarah implored, her voice rising slightly in urgency. I can handle it, Dad. I need to know. He looked down at her, her expression resolute. This girl had faced so much already. Their lives felt like a jigsaw puzzle with pieces missing. Did she really want to fit together the fragments that might reveal a picture of heartache? Okay, Tom relented, but the fear clawed at him. We can talk. But we'll find a quiet place. He turned to the man. Lead the way. But I swear, if you hurt her. The man held up his hands again, a gesture of sincerity. I promise, Tom. That is the last thing I want. The three of them moved past the crowd that still spun in vibrant celebration, oblivious to the storm brewing in this little triad of tension. Tom's heart thundered. He fought to keep a brave face, but inside, he was lost. As they reached a secluded corner, a flickering street lamp cast shadows around them. Tom could see fear etched on Sarah's face, but there was also a flicker of anticipation, as if she was ready to uncover lost treasures of understanding. Okay, Tom began, voice barely above a whisper, let us hear it. The man took a deep breath, as if gathering courage for a devil's bargain. What I'm about to tell you, he paused, looking straight at Sarah. Changed my life. It will change yours too. What could possibly be so heavy? Tom demanded, the urgency in his voice rising again. About your mother, the man started, but before he could continue, a loud explosion echoed in the distance, cutting through their moment of emergence like glass shattering. Tom's heart raced. What was that? Sarah's eyes widened with worry as she scanned the darkening street. Tom exchanged a glance with the stranger, whose expression now mirrored his own concern. The weight of secrets could wait, but uncertainty surged like a tidal wave. Was this just a coincidence, or had they unwittingly unleashed something far beyond their control? Stay close, Tom commanded, drawing Sarah against him, shielding her from whatever chaos loomed on the horizon. And as fear coiled tightly around them, he knew that the truth was about to collide head-on with their reality in a way they never anticipated. What awaited them wasn't just a revelation, but a thunderstorm of change that could either shatter them further or rebuild the last fragments of their family. The sounds of panic erupted around them, drowning out the man's hesitant words. People screamed and scrambled, their silhouettes blurring into frantic movements under the flickering street lamp. Tom felt Sarah's grip tighten around his arm, her breath coming faster in short gasps. What's happening? She asked, her wide eyes searching his face for answers. I don't know, Tom admitted, trying to mask his own dread. But we need to get out of here. The man shifted, his face pale under the dim light. We can't leave yet. This is important, forget it. Tom cut him off, knowing time was slipping through his fingers like sand. We can talk later. Right now, we need to find a safe place. Just then, the ground trembled beneath them. A framed picture of pre-holiday cheer suddenly twisted into something chaotic and terrifying. The sound of sirens wailed in the distance, piercing like glass shards in an already fractured world. Come on. Tom urged, pulling Sarah closer as he began to move through the crowd. Instinct kicked in, he was her protector. Searching for an exit, his heart raced as chaos swirled around them. The crowd pushed and shoved, erupting into aisles of panicked faces. Dad! Sarah cried, her voice filled with fear. I can't see. Where are you going? Right here. He steadied himself, turning to face her. Their eyes met in a bond that felt as fragile as spun sugar. We'll get through this. Just stay close. As they navigated around the falling decorations and abandoned tables, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that everything had shifted in that one moment of chaos. The truth about Sarah's mother felt so incredibly distant now, overshadowed by the priorities of survival. But a nagging sense at the back of his mind warned him that whatever had begun just seconds ago wouldn't end with the explosion. They found a deserted alleyway, hidden behind a row of shops. The noise from the street faded into a dull roar, but panic twisted in Tom's chest. He looked down at Sarah, whose eyes shimmered with unspent tears. Are you okay? He asked, kneeling to meet her gaze. I don't want to be scared, Dad, she murmured, her voice small. Tom's heart sank. It was unjust for her to be in this position, especially when they were finally starting to talk about the truth of her mother. But as adrenaline coursed through him, he knew they needed to regroup before discussing heavy matters. It's okay to feel scared, he said gently. But we're together. That's what matters. He could sense the man lingering behind them, the weight of his presence like a silent mountain still pressing down. You need to hear me, he said, urgency crackling in his tone. Your mother, she's in danger. What? Tom's voice came out sharper than he intended. Is that why you showed up? To say this? Yes. The man took a step forward, his eyes wide. I thought I'd lost the chance to tell you. I didn't want you to live in the dark anymore. Sarah deserves to know her mother isn't just a ghost in her heart. There's more to this than you know. Tom's anger surged again. And you think a moment like this is the right time? People are hurting, and you stand here talking about truths from the past? I'm not just talking about the past. I'm telling you how it can impact her future. Caught in the tension, Tom felt the weight of responsibility slam into him. It wasn't just about protecting Sarah anymore, it was about ensuring her potential for a future free of shadows, free from the chains of her mother's unknown history. A silence hung thick, the kind that demanded a decision. Tom's heart raced, caught between his paternal instinct to shield Sarah and the pressing need to confront what could be a reality more dangerous than he ever imagined. The sirens grew louder, a reminder that they were not alone in this chaos. "Tell us," Tom finally said, his voice low. "But you'd better make it worth the risk." And as the weighty tension coiled around them, somewhere in the distance, another explosion shook the ground, rippling through Tom's bones. He knew that the moment of truth was coming faster than he anticipated, and it would shatter everything they thought they knew. The man's gaze flickered between Tom and Sarah, his expression a mix of desperation and resolve. "Your mother is tangled in something dangerous, something that reaches far beyond just you and her." He inhaled sharply, as if gathering his thoughts. "She's part of a network, a cause that could either change lives or destroy them." "Change lives?" Sarah echoed, a slight tremble in her voice. "What do you mean? I don't understand." "Neither do I, sweetie," Tom said, feeling the walls of his certainty start to crumble. "But right now, we don't have time to find out. We need to be safe. But we can't just ignore this." The man insisted, his voice rising over the chaos outside. "She needs you, both of you. If you don't do something now." Another rumble echoed through the alley, sending a shudder through Tom's body. He tightened his grip on Sarah's hand. Panic was swelling again, threatening to pull them back into the frenzy of the street. "Listen," Tom said, his voice steadying. "I don't care about your grand plans or whatever this network is. All I care about is getting Sarah to safety. We can talk later, once we find some sort of refuge." The man took a step closer, desperation etched on his face. "Tom, I get it, but you're missing the big picture here. There's a reason she vanished. And it wasn't just because she wanted to. People are looking for her, people who will stop at nothing to ensure she doesn't get in the way. If she knows about you too, she's in even more danger." Tom felt his heart race. "Then why haven't you done anything until now?" "I've been trying. You don't understand how far this goes. I had to keep a distance for your protection. But we can take care of ourselves." Sarah piped up, her voice firmer now. "Right, Dad? We can face anything if we stick together." A wave of pride washed over Tom, yet fear clung to him like wet clothes. He needed to be the shield, but he also realized they were teetering on the edge of a cliff. In his heart, he felt both the urge to protect and the flickering hope that maybe, just maybe, they could confront whatever danger lay ahead. "All right," Tom said, his voice choked with anxiety but barely hiding his resolve. "Tell us what we need to know. What are we up against?" "Tonight is pivotal," the man began, urgency crackling through his words. "There's a meeting, very few people know about it. It's where everything will be laid bare. If you can find her before they do." He paused, emotion welling. "You could change everything." Tom looked at Sarah, whose determination shone through her fear. "Are you ready for this?" he asked her. "Yeah," she said, eyes bright with a fierce resolve that emboldened him. "I want to know. I want to help Mom." With a nod, Tom turned back to the man. "Where do we find this meeting?" "Follow me," the man replied, a flicker of hope lighting his features. "But we need to move fast before it's too late." As they stepped back into the madness of the street, the cacophony of sirens and screaming once again enveloped them. Each pulse of the chaos intertwined with Tom's racing heart as they navigated through fear and uncertainty, but deep down, beneath the terror, adrenaline surged through him. Whatever the truth was about Sarah's mother, Tom felt it had the potential to change everything they knew, especially for Sarah, and as they forged ahead, he couldn't shake the question thrumming through his mind. What had they unbound just by seeking the truth? But the moment they turned a corner, the sight before them sent a chill to his bone. A crowd assembled, eyes wide, breaths caught. Something was happening ahead, but it didn't feel like the truth they sought. Tom's heart sank as shadows shifted ominously. What lay waiting in the depths of this chaos could either tear them apart or stitch their broken family together. They could run, retreat, and hide, but he knew they had already crossed a threshold. They had to face what was to come, despite the terrifying unknown clawing at the corners of their minds. One thought kindled at the back of his head: what if this chaotic night unmasked something darker than they ever imagined? The crowd surged as Tom, Sarah, and the man stepped forward, anxiety pressing against them in waves. The night was a swirling mass of chaos and fear that threatened to engulf everything they built, all the connections they were trying to reclaim. Tom squared his shoulders, determined to protect Sarah at all costs, but in that moment, he understood it wasn't just danger they faced, it was a reckoning. "Stay close," Tom urged, his voice firm yet barely concealing the tremble within as they wove towards the heart of the gathering. The flickering streetlights cast long shadows, elongating the figures of those around them, turning familiar faces into ghostly silhouettes, everyone drawn to the source of the commotion. "What are we looking for?" Sarah asked, her voice a mix of fear and fierce bravery. The man led swiftly through the crowd, a man on a mission. "The meeting should be just up ahead. We need to intercept them before they leave." As they neared the epicenter of the chaos, the adrenaline coursed through Tom, grounding him in urgency. The atmosphere shifted, tension palpable. He could feel Sarah's hand squeezing his tighter, and he sensed her determination rising, matching his own. "What is going to happen?" Sarah whispered, glancing up at Tom, the fear flickering in her eyes as shadows whispered of uncertainty. "I don't know, but we're going to face it together," he said, offering a reassuring smile that masked the fear knotted in his stomach. The truth about her mother was lurking just ahead, a secret that could either shatter the fragile bond they were forming or illuminate a path toward healing. Just then, the man halted, urgency radiating from his posture. "There." He pointed towards a huddle of people on the edge of the crowd, their faces obscured in shadow. "That's them." As they drew closer, Tom's heart thudded like a drum. The faces around him clouded with uncertainty, but he focused solely on Sarah. She was digging for answers, and so was he. As they approached, the murmurs intensified, not just voices, but echoes of loss and fears of the past resurfacing. "Stay behind me," Tom instructed softly, again positioning himself as a shield, but not without allowing Sarah her space to stand strong. The group ahead broke into suspicion as soon as they caught sight of the trio approaching. A sense of foreboding rushed through him, a realization that they were not just facing answers, they were facing judgment. "Why are you here?" one man barked, stepping forward with eyes flashing anger. He looked like he meant business, muscles tight and ready for confrontation. "This isn't your place." Tom felt the urge to step back. "We're looking for Sarah's mother. We need to talk to her." The atmosphere shifted, intrigue mixed with hostility. "Your mother sacrificed too much for you," another figure spoke, voice dripping disdain. "She's not your pawn." "What do you know?" Sarah demanded, stepping between Tom and the group, fire igniting in her eyes. "She's my mother. I deserve to hear the truth." Tom marveled at her courage, but the situation felt precarious. "Sarah," he whispered, barely a sound, but it held a different kind of worry. He knew she felt a connection to the past that they had yet to uncover, and it scared him. "Your mother is in more danger than you know," the first man shot back, his voice heavy with implication. "We're involved in something much larger than family drama. Your mother made choices that put her life at risk, and now you want to stumble in blindly?" "I want to help," Sarah cried back, indignation settling on her face. "I want to understand." Captured in this moment, the man shifted his stance, eyes narrowing as if sizing up their resolve. "Then know this, she's made enemies. Powerful ones." His words tore through Tom's protective shell, fear mingling with frustration pooling in his chest. "Then why are we standing here? We need to find her now. Don't you see? This is why she disappeared. To protect you." A woman interjected, voice heavy with emotion. Tom felt his heart drop at her words. "What does that mean? What did you all do to my family?" The truth blurred before him, combining a web of danger and loyalty in a twisted knot. Sarah turned to him, desperation and hope framing her features. We can't just ignore this. I want to fight for her, to understand why she did all of this. A collective hush spread among the group, the weight of her words hanging thick in the air. The night felt like a pause, as if time held its breath, allowing each moment to stretch into hesitation and horror. Fine, the man finally replied with a begrudging nod, but this isn't a game. If you want to help your mother, you'll need the knowledge and the strength to face whatever is coming. Then tell us. Tom urged, his heart racing with urgency. We want to protect her, keep her safe. Whatever you think you know, we need to understand it all. Then we need a plan, the woman stated firmly. A new determination resonated through her voice. It starts by gathering trusted allies. There are others who care about her who want to help. Tom felt the breath of hope creeping in, but it had a bitterness to it. There was no turning back now, not after peeling back the curtain on their reality. They were racing towards danger without knowing what lay beyond the next twist. Let us move. The man commanded as he glanced back down the street. The danger isn't just coming for your mother. It's after everyone who even remotely has a connection with her. The words hung in the air, a grim reminder of the stakes at play. But as they rallied together, Tom realized that confronting the truth wasn't just about answers anymore, it was about the fight ahead. They would either uncover the darkness threatening to consume them, or they would become yet another shadow lost in its depths. As they forged ahead, the silhouette of their new reality loomed, dark and uncertain. But together, even if the journey broke them down, they would carve out an unbreakable bond in the light of that truth, a truth worth fighting for, come what may. Let us do this, Sarah murmured, her voice just above a whisper, but her determination echoed in the night. Tom felt the rush of courage surge through their little group, stands against shadows that bent towards darkness. Together, they bolstered their strength, ready to confront whatever awaited them. It was time to fight for family, time for truth to shine its harsh light on forgotten mysteries. And Tom knew, whatever the outcome, they would emerge on the other side, forever changed. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of helping the channel grow.